Good morning, Sergio.
Good morning,
How are
teacher.
you?
Good morning. I'm very good, teacher.
Okay, good to hear that. We also have Edwin Sosa. Good morning. How you doing, Edwin?
Good morning, teacher. I'm okay.
All
Thanks for
right,
asking.
good. We also have Hector Lima. Good morning. How you doing, Hector?
Good morning, teacher. I'm very tired. How
Hi.
about you? Yeah,
Oh, okay. Do you work on the weekend?
yeah.
Okay, so that's why.
Yesterday.
All right, good. And we also have Tomas. Good morning, Tomas.
Good morning, teacher.
How you doing, Tomas?
I'm fine, teacher, and you?
Good. Thanks for asking. And last person is Josue. Good morning. How you doing, Josue?
Good morning, teacher. Um, I a little tired.
Do you work on the weekend too?
Yes, I work.
Okay, so that's why you are like that. Good. So this day we are going to have a new topic, and this is the last topic in the book. So this is about time classes. And our objective for today will be to describe things that happen, and you are going to tell us the sequence. What happened first, what happened later. So this is the main use of time classes to express what happened first and what happened later. So just to give you a clear idea about what we will have today, I'm going to share the screen and you will see it over there. So they are called time classes. Time classes, as I was saying before, they are expressing the time, let's say, or the moment when an action happened. So if we have time classes, we can use different words. Over here in the box, you only have four, but you have more than four. So let's see what time classes are. We will see the first one. Sergio, can you read it, please?
Okay. Time closet. Before you start writing the full purchase order, you have to check every product.
Good, good. So before you start writing the purchase order, you have to check every product to verify that you are giving the correct amount. Good. Number two, Sergio, continue.
After they pay, we can start placing the package on the truck.
After they pay. After they pay.
After
Yes.
they pay,
After they pay, we can start placing the packages on the truck. For example, let's say that you have a store and you have your wife with you working in the same business, and I get with my family to buy some products. So you tell your wife, after they pay, we can start placing. Placing means putting the packages on the truck. Yes, before that, you cannot do it. You do it after they pay because they can run away with your product. Number three, Edwin Sosa. Edwin, we are authorized. Number three,
Just a chilito. Próximo.
Edwin Sosa.
Oh, tell me, teacher, or repeat again, please.
Can you read the number three? We are authorized to change.
Oh, wait. We are out, authorized to change items until we check the purchase order.
Exactly. Imagine that you have a store and a person gets to your store and say, "Hey, I need that you change this product." You don't change it immediately. You have to do something first. You have to check the purchase order. So you say, "We are authorized to change items or products until we check the purchase order. Before that, we cannot do it." Yes. And the last one, continue, Edwin.
As soon as we register the order in our system, you can take it home.
Perfect. As soon as we register the order in our system, you can take it home. Yes, you can take the product as soon as we enter the information to our system. So you will see some words over there: before, after, until, and as soon as. So now these are time expressions. Time expressions are the words that you use to indicate a period of time. Yes, they are usually called prepositions. So those prepositions are like when I can ask, for example, Salvador. Salvador, what do you do before you enter to class? What do you do before you enter to class?
Teacher, se le cortó, solo le entendí. What do you do before?
What do you do before you enter to class today? What do you do?
Okay. I practice the learning, and I uh, take my lunch
I had my
before I have my lunch. Sorry. And how do you say
lunch or breakfast?
arreglar?
Do you have lunch or breakfast?
Bre- no, lunch, breakfast. Oh, before class,
Yes, I'm asking you
breakfast,
before class. Breakfast.
breakfast. Yes.
Okay,
Uh,
good. Let's see. Hector Lima. Hector Lima. Did you download the applications after I send them to the group?
Uh, honestly, no, teacher,
Why?
because my cell phone don't have the store,
Doesn't have, my son
and
doesn't have.
that's yeah.
Okay,
But today, uh, I don't love the
okay.
applicator. Teacher.
Good. At least one. Try to download at least one. Probably the vocabulary because it is good. Tan-
Okay.
Tanya, did you open the camera when you enter to class? Did you open the camera when you enter to class, Tanya?
No, teacher. I start the I start the camera
Uh-huh. Why?
because I have breakfast.
Ah, okay. Good.
Yes, teacher.
Now, Thomas, what did you do yesterday before you slept? What do you do before you slept?
Mm. Eh, I have a dinner with my wife. Um, After that, and watch movie.
Good. So I had dinner with my wife, and after that, I watched a movie. Good. Josue, what did you do yesterday in the morning before you took a shower?
Yesterday before to take a shower, I did my I did my homework of English class. And And
Really?
no, really not. That I did the Saturday.
You did on Saturday.
Uh,
Okay, good. Thank you, Jose. Now, last person, Sergio. What do you usually do? What do you usually do after you have your lunch? What do you usually do after you have your lunch? After you eat your lunch, what do you usually do?
After lunch, I I watch TV, uh, specify new
Specific
noticias.
news.
New, okay. After logging, I watch TV specific news. Uh, then I I I I go to work.
Okay, good, sir. Good. So I watch the news and then I go to work. Good. So all those activities that you were saying are correct. And if you check, you were usually describing two actions. What do you do after you have lunch? So after I have lunch, I have another activity. What is the other activity? I go to work. What do you do before you slept yesterday? Oh, before I slept, I watched TV. So you have two activities. What do you do before you enter to class? Before I enter to class was the first section, and then and then you tell me what you did. So before I enter to class, I had my breakfast. Or did you enter did you open the camera when you enter to class? So you have two actions: open the camera and enter to class. So with these ideas that we have, we usually have two ideas. So with these two ideas, you need to use some words to connect them and to specify that one action happened before the other one, or to specify that the two actions happen at the same time. But how do you do it? Do you remember those words that I used when I was asking you? What were those words expressing time that you could hear? What were they? What were the words that you could hear that I used? No? When I was asking you, I asked you using a preposition of time. What was it? Well, I asked you about many, but for each one you had one. Do you remember it? No? Okay, so I will tell you right now. We can use some prepositions, and those prepositions are uh, expressing time. For example, before, if you say the word before, you are expressing the sequence of two actions. What happened first and what happened later. So whenever you say before, you have two actions. So for the two actions, you always say what happened first and what happened later. Now, before is one, the other one is after. Before, after is another one that is expressing the sequence of the actions. You also have when to specify that you have also two actions like what do you do when you enter to class? What do you do when you enter to class? Oh, I open the camera when I enter to class. So like that. Another preposition is as soon as. If you say as soon is almost the same thing like if you say immediately. Immediately. So you can say, as soon as I enter to class, I open the camera. At the same time. They happen at the same time, as soon as. Another expression that you can use is the moment. The moment it's similar to as soon as. The moment I enter to class, I open the camera. As soon as I enter the class, I open the camera. So as soon as, or the moment. Another one that you're going to find is once. Once means una vez. For example, once you finish the homework, you can play video games. You tell this to your kids. Once you finish the homework, you can play video games. Yes. Once you have completed the exam, you finish the level. And like that. Yes. So you have once. The other one is when you say until. Until means hasta. Yes. So you say until I started to work, I saved money. Until I started to work, I saved money. And like that. And the last one will be by the time. By the time means para cuando. By the time I was 17, I had already, let me see, I had already finished high school. By the time I was 17, I had already finished high school. So you're expressing that one action happened before the other one. Now let's check the meaning of those words one by one. Since, before, until, by the time, and since is missing there too. Okay, so these are the expressions that we have been checking. The first one is before. Before, the meaning is antes. Yes, before. After, después. When, cuando. As soon as, tan pronto como. As soon as possible. Yes, as soon as. The moment, el momento en que. Once, una vez que. Until, hasta. By the time, para cuando, and like that. Now, let's pay attention to this. When can you use these expressions? Before, after, when, as moment, once, until, and by the time? Well, you can use these expressions for all tenses. If you want to talk about the present, you can use them. If you want to talk about the past, you can use them too. If you want to talk about the future, you can also use them. Let's see some examples. If I say before this year ends, I will buy a new car. Before this year ends, I will buy a new car. So you are expressing the future. Now let's see the past. Before I enter to class, I had my breakfast. Before I enter to class, I had my breakfast. Let's see the present. Uh, before I before I brush my teeth, I drink some water. Or before I start class, I usually uh, check my WhatsApp, for example. So you can describe routines. You can also talk about an action in the past or two actions in the past, and about the future too. So you can use them for all tenses, but not all of them. Not all of them, because by the time is a spatial preposition. With by the time, you don't use present, for example. Yes. you usually use future or past, because that is like when you say para cuando o para el momento en que, so it could be in the past. By the time I was 17, I had already graduated from high school. Or in the future, I will buy a new car by the time I graduated from university. So you give your own examples, but you can use them both past or future. That's the only difference. Then the rest you can use them whenever you want. Present, past, and future. So questions about the meaning of those words? Right now only the meaning. Before, after, when, as soon as, the moment, once, until, and by the time. Questions, or you know the meaning of all those words? You can ask me right now if you want to know the meaning before we move to the exercises. No, no questions, no questions. Okay, so I repeated before, antes, after, después, when, cuando, as soon as, tan pronto como, the moment, en el momento en que, once, una vez, until, hasta que, and by the time, para cuando, and like that. Now let's complete some exercises. And remember what I was saying at the beginning of the class, you use them to express that two actions happen, maybe in the past, two actions happen in the present, or two actions will happen in the future. So you want to express only the sequence of the actions, what happened first and what happened later. So you will always have two sentences, always, all the time. You have two sentences, two actions, because what you want to do is to express the sequence, what happened first and what happened later. So let's start with the exercises in the number 5. Edwin Gonzalez. It says circle the correct words, compare with a partner. Number 1 says, before I get to job or as soon as I get to job, I have to take a shower. So which one is correct? Before or as soon as?
Before.
Exactly. So before I get to job, I have to take a shower. You cannot do it later. Yes. Or maybe sometimes if you have a shower at work, you can do it as soon as you get to the place. Maybe if you have a shower. But usually there is not a shower at work in all kind of jobs. So what do? You take the shower before. Yes. So before I get to job, I have to take a shower. Next one, Hector Alvarado. Number 2, it says once or until you pay for the material, you can start using it. Imagine that you want to buy a material. When can you start using that material? Once you pay for the material or until you pay for the material?
Once,
Or both?
once, once you pay for the material, you can start using it.
Yeah, it could be. Once you pay for the material, you can start using it. Before that, yes. Is it possible to say until you pay for the material, you can start using it? Can you say that?
Yeah,
It's possible too. You can say
it's
once or
possible.
until, and they are possible. Good. Number 3, Herbert. Give the change. Give the change means vuelto, dar cambio. Give the change after you know how much the total is or before you know the how much the total is.
Give the change before you know how much the total is.
Really. Usted daría, si usted tiene una tienda, usted va a dar el cambio antes
Oh,
que usted sepa cuál es el total.
you know, okay. Give the change after you know how much the total is.
Exactly. You have to do it
Okay.
after you know, not before, because how
Mhm.
much are you going to give as a change if you don't know the total? First, you know the total, and then you give the change. So you give the change after después. Yes, after you know how much a total is, not before. Good. Next one. Uh, Tomás, all the workers can go until they finish their work or before they finish their work.
Only workers can go until they finish their work.
Exactly. They can go to their houses until they finish their work. They cannot do it before that. Yes. It might be possible, but your boss is not going to let you go. Yes. They tell you first you finish and then you can go. Yes. So as you can see, you always have two ideas, two actions that happen in the past, and the only thing that you want to do is to express what happened first and what happened later. Any questions about it? All right, so I'm going to project a video, and after this video, we are going to see if you have questions. If you don't have, we are going to start with one activity that we have for today.
Now we are going to practice time clauses. Here are some important things to remember about time clauses before we begin. They require a subject and a verb. A time clause must be connected to a main clause, but it can come before or after the main clause. If the time clause comes before the main clause, as it does in this example, there must be a comma to separate the clauses. In this first example, before I traveled to Australia, I was very shy. The sentence could be switched around to say, I was very shy before I traveled to Australia. Each of the examples to come follow these same rules about time clauses. As I show you more examples, I will also explain a little bit about how to use subordinating conjunctions. Before and after are subordinating conjunctions. After I went to Australia, I was better at communicating. Once and as soon as are also subordinating conjunctions. They are used when one event happens and another event happens soon afterwards. Once I experienced more of the world, I related to people differently. As soon as I met people in Australia, I became more outgoing. The moment is used for a particular point of time when two events happen together. The moment I was on the plane, I felt freedom. Until is for time clauses that go to that time and then no longer. Until I moved away from home, I had very few friends. Finally, by the time is used for an event that is completed before another event. By the time I returned home, I was a new person.
Okay, so as you can see, you always have two events, two actions that happen. It says before I traveled to Australia. This is like a story. So before I traveled to Australia, I was very shy. Yes, before I traveled to Australia, I was very shy. After I went to Australia, I was better at communicating. Okay, so the person had a change. Once, remember that the meaning is una vez que. Once I experienced more of the world, I related to people. Yes? Once, una vez que. Then, as soon as, tan pronto como. As soon as I met people in Australia, I became more outgoing. As soon as I met people in Australia, I became more outgoing. Tan pronto como conocí personas en Australia, me convertí en más, o me hice más outgoing, extrovertido. El momento en que, the moment I was on the plane, I felt freedom. Yes? Until hasta que, until I moved away from my home, I had very few friends. Yes? Later, I had more. By the time, para cuando, o para el momento en que, by the time I returned home, I was a new person. So this person is telling his experience going to Australia and how he changed his personality, because at the beginning he was shy. So I will repeat the story because this is like a little story, and then we are going to pass to the activity that I was telling you. Before I traveled to Australia, I was very shy. Okay, and what happened after you went to Australia? Oh, after I went to Australia, I was better at communicating. Oh, interesting. And then what happened when you experienced more of the world? Oh, once I experienced more of the world, I related to people differently. Oh, I understand. As soon as you met people in Australia, what happened? Oh, as soon as I met people in Australia, I became more outgoing. The two actions happened at the same time. The moment, the moment I was on the plane, how do you feel? Oh, the moment I was on the plane, I felt freedom. Until, what happened until you moved away from home? Oh, until I moved away from home, I had very few friends. But after that, I had a lot of friends. Then, by the time, what happened when you returned home? Oh, by the time I returned home, I was a new person. Yes, para cuando regresé a casa, ya era una persona nueva. And this is the way that you use time clauses.
Now practice using each of these subordinating conjunctions with time clauses on your own, and then with your classmates and teacher.
All right, so as I was saying, it is only to express two actions that happened in the past. You are only describing the sequence, what happened first, what happened later, and I will send you again the prepositions for the ones that entered some minutes ago so that you can see them and we can check them again. So,
Teacher,
yes, Anthony?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, I don't know in between the phrase right now, for example. Right now is as possible they use the time class. No.
No, right now is not a time clause. It's not a like a preposition that you can use. Why? Because when you say right now, you are just describing one action. And when you say before, when you say after, when, as soon as, the moment, once, until, and by the time, you need to mention two actions. So these words that you see over there, before, antes, it's in the chat, so you can see it. Before, antes. After, después. When, cuando. As soon as, tan pronto como. The moment, el momento en que. Once, una vez que. Until, hasta que. By the time, para el momento en que. And if you use this expression only with one sentence, you don't understand it. You need two sentences because these words are the ones that you use to connect two ideas. Imagine that I only use before. Before before I go to work, before I go to work, and then You say, what? What happens? Antes que yo me vaya al trabajo, and you will be waiting for my compliment. So these words, all these words, need two sentences to have an idea. Now I can tell you, before I go to work, I have my breakfast. So before I go to work, I have my breakfast. Antes que me vaya a trabajar, tomo mi desayuno. Or I have my breakfast before I go to work. You can also switch them. Yes. Or you can say after. After I finish my breakfast, I brush my teeth. Or I can say I brush my teeth after I finish my breakfast. When, same thing. Uh, I watch TV when I have my breakfast. I usually do it. As soon as means immediately. Two actions almost at the same time. Uh, as soon as I opened the computer, I saw a message on the screen. Once, una vez que. Once you finish this level, you need to send documents again. You need to send documents again. Until, hasta que. For example, until you have a car, you know that you have to spend a lot of money in gas and in spare repuestos. So until you have a car, because if you don't have a car, you don't know that how much you have to spend. But until you have a car, you know uh, that you have to spend a lot of money on that. Yes. Or using by the time. By the time means para el momento en que, and I can tell you that by the time you enter to class, I was already in my computer, using my computer. Yes, by the time you enter to class, I was already using my computer. So there was an action before the other one. And this is how you do it. Another question? No? Okay, now let's see. We are going to practice it. And I know that sometimes the most difficult thing is the past for you. So last time I asked you to practice the pronunciation for the ED. I just want to see how you're pronouncing the ED right now. And then we are going to start with the activity that I'm going to tell you. So first person is going to be Sergio. How do you pronounce this verb, Sergio?
Work,
Sergio? Words.
work,
Okay. Tomás, how do you pronounce this verb?
Call, call,
Cold.
call.
Salvador, how do you pronounce this verb? How do you pronounce this verb?
Insist.
Insisted.
Insisted.
Tanya, how do you pronounce this verb?
Learning.
Learned. Louis, how do you pronounce, let's see, how do you pronounce this verb? Luis?
Washed,
Luis?
washed.
Good, Luis, good. Washed. Herbert, how do you pronounce this verb? How do you pronounce it?
Mixed,
No. It is mixed.
Mix.
Abimael, how do you pronounce uh, this verb? Abimael?
Walk.
Walked. Walked. Hector
Walk.
Alvarado, how do you pronounce this verb?
Cleaned.
Good. Cleaned. Josue, how do you pronounce this verb?
Want.
Wanted.
Wanted.
Next one, Anthony, how do you pronounce this verb?
Repeated.
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 Edwin, how do you pronounce this word? Edwin Gonzalez?
Change.
Okay, the correct one is changed. Changed. Ruben, how do you pronounce this verb? Ruben? Ruben? Ruben, how do you pronounce that verb? Okay, another person. Ruben?
Teacher.
Yes, how do you pronounce it?
No, no me sale el verbo, teacher.
Yes, I sent it in the chat. I will send it again.
No.
This one.
Okay. Open.
Good. Opened. Let's see, Jose Martinez. How do you pronounce this verb?
Type it.
Typed. Typed. So as you can see, only like 3 people gave me the correct pronunciation. So that means that you didn't study pronunciation. You have to check pronunciation. That is very important. Because if you say type, you're saying the present. If you say change, you're saying the present. And I'm telling you the past. The past has the ed. So I'm going to tell you once again that the ed has 3 different pronunciations. When you see the ed, you have 3 different pronunciations. The pronunciation can be like T, the pronunciation can be like D, and the pronunciation can be id. So those are the 3 sounds that you're going to find when a word has ed. It can be like T, like D, or id. So can I use any of the pronunciations? No. There are some rules that you have to know to pronounce them correctly. Okay, so what are those rules? They are only 3. Number 1. Rule number 1 says that when you have a verb and that verb in the present is ending in one of these words, you will pronounce the ed like T. Yes, you will pronounce it like T. So if I say work, this is the present. Work. As you can see in the present, the last letter is the letter K. So that means that if I add the simple past, that is the ed, that ed will be pronounced like T. And when you see it together, you will pronounce it wort, wort, or fix. Fix in the present, fix in the past, ed, so pronounce the ed, fixed. Yes? If you don't want to memorize the letters or the sounds, easy. If you don't have vibration in the last sound, pronounce it like T. Si no tiene vibración ese último sonido que usted está produciendo, entonces hágalo como una T. Pronuncia el verbo en el presente. Si tiene este verbo y usted lo mira así, entonces ¿qué significa? Que ahí ya está en el pasado. Entonces quítele la ed y le queda el presente. Ah, ok, ¿cuál es el presente? Fix. Vale, ahora, cuando esté haciendo el último sonido que sea el de la X, entonces ahí se toca a ver si tiene vibración. Fix. No vibration, so pronounce it like T. Fixed. Same thing is going to happen with work. Work. No vibration, so worked. Wash. No vibration, so washed. Yes? Now, number 2. If the verbs are ending in one of these sounds, the ed is going to be pronounced like D. Si el verbo en el presente termina con una de esas letras, uno de esos sonidos, la ed se va a pronunciar como una D nada más. For example, we were saying clean in the present. Clean. The last letter is N. So, in the past, you will see that they have ed. Este es el pasado, le miran la ed allí. Entonces, si quieren saber cuál es el presente, quítenle la e y la d y listo, ese va a ser el presente. Clean. Ahora tóquense y vean si tienen vibración. Clean, diciendo el verbo en el presente nada más. Clean, ahí se tocan en el último sonido. Clean, vibration. So, cleaned. Yes, cleaned. Now, if I say cold, vibration, so cold. Yes. And the last one, when you have T and D, you will pronounce id. So want is with T, so the pronunciation will be wanted, wanted, or need, needed, visit, visited. Yes, and like that. So I repeat it. You have 2 ways: memorize the sounds or vibration and no vibration. If the last sound is soft, si el último sonido del verbo en el presente es suave, sin vibración, pronúncielo como T. Si el último sonido del verbo en el presente tiene vibración, entonces pronúncielo como una D. Y ya si termina con T o con D, pronúncielo id. Yes? So, once again, Sergio, how do you pronounce this? How do you pronounce this?
Part.
Perfect. It is part. Tomás, how do you pronounce this?
Stop.
Stop is the present, but in the past?
Stop.
And what is the last sound?
Stop.
With T, ¿con cuál sonido lo está haciendo? ¿Con la T, con la D, con la I? Porque no le escucho ninguno de los tres. Usted le mira ed ahí al final de ese verbo, ¿verdad? Entonces esa ed no se pronuncia ed, sino que significa que hay tres sonidos, una T, una D o id. ¿Cuál de esos tres sonidos es?
It is stop. Stop.
Vaya, ¿qué les dije? ¿Qué indicación les acabo de dar para saber qué pronunciación va a tener? Les dije que tenían dos opciones. ¿Cuáles son las dos opciones para saber? Tomás. No lo escuchó, Tomás.
Perdón, teacher. Si tiene vibración, va a terminar con D.
Se va a
Se va a
pronunciar,
pronunciar,
no que
sí,
va a...
perdón, se va a pronunciar. Y si no tiene vibración, se va a pronunciar con T al final.
Así es. Entonces, si la palabra en la última letra del verbo en el presente tiene un sonido que produce vibración, usted va a pronunciar una D de dinosaurio. Si el verbo tiene en su última letra un sonido que no produce vibración, entonces la va a pronunciar como una T de tomate. Y si el verbo termina con T o con D en el presente, entonces allí sí no va a ponerle, no se tiene que fijar si tiene vibración o no. Si ya el verbo termina con T en el presente o si ya el verbo termina con D, entonces se va a pronunciar id. Vale, ahora le pregunto, ¿cómo va a pronunciar eso? Herbert. Tomás.
Stop.
Which sound? T, D, or id? Which sound?
T. Con T.
So pronounce it.
Stop.
Oh, that's a pronunciation. Stopped. Stopped is the pronunciation. That is the past. Stopped. Yes?
Okay.
Good. Salvador.
Believe it.
¿Cuál sonido le digo? ¿El de la T, el de la D o el I? Porque ed no existe. Ed, la pronunciación ed no existe en el pasado. Existen tres sonidos. La T, la D o id. Entonces,
La letter D. Believe it.
believed. Believed.
Believe.
Believed. That is the thing. Believe. En el presente el verbo es believe. Believe. Entonces en el pasado, póngale la D. Believed.
Believe it.
Believed. Good. Luis. The verb answer. How do you pronounce it? With?
Answered.
With T, with D, or with it?
With D. Answered.
Answered with D. Good. Herbert. How do you pronounce it?
Walker.
No.
Walker.
Vaya, Herbert, ¿qué les acabo? Les acabo de
Okay, okay,
decir que ed, eso no existe. Así se escribe.
okay, okay.
Pronunciación
Okay.
es ed.
Walked.
Oh, walked. Walked is the pronunciation. Walked.
Okay.
Good. Abimael. How do you pronounce it?
Opened.
Perfect, Abimael. Opened. Anthony, how do you pronounce this?
Which one? Invited.
Invited, exactly. Next one, Ruben. Ruben?
Alerted.
Alerted. Alert.
Alerted.
Good. Alerted. Josue, next one. How do you pronounce it?
En serio, eres salvadoreño.
Finish. Finish.
Finished. Finished with T. Si no se acuerdan de las terminaciones, entonces fíjense si tienes vibración o no vibración. Es la manera más fácil. Finish. Finished. No hay vibración cuando dice shh. Entonces, finished. Next one, Héctor Alvarado.
Used.
Good, used. Used. Next one, Héctor Lima. How do you pronounce it?
Bake.
Repeat it.
Bake.
But bake is the present. I need you to pronounce the past.
Bake it.
No. I gave you the rules, so just follow the rules.
Yeah. Baked.
Pero es que ed no existe, Héctor Lima. Ed no
Perfect.
existe. Ed se escribe, pero esa ed tiene tres sonidos. Tiene el sonido t,
It.
tiene el sonido
T.
d o id. Ya les dije, ya les mandé con cuáles sonidos se va a pronunciar T, con cuáles sonidos se va a pronunciar D y con cuáles se va a pronunciar id. O simple y sencillamente, si el último sonido en el verbo, en el presente, tiene vibración, pronúncialo con D. Si no tiene vibración, pronúncialo con T. Y ya T y D se pronuncia id. ¿No?
Bake.
¿Cuál sería el sonido?
Bait. Bait.
Baked. Baked.
With D.
With T sería con T, Héctor. Quítele la ed al verbo y dígame qué última letra le quedó.
Okay.
Vale, quedó la K. Entonces, qué sonido le corresponde cuando el verbo termina con la K en el presente? Le corresponde pronunciarlo como una T porque la K no produce vibración. No hay vibración. Bait.
Okay.
Yes, bait.
Bait.
Next one, Tania.
What is the meaning bake?
Bake means hornear. In the past, baked. I baked a
Okay.
cake, for example.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Tanya, How do you pronounce this?
Mixed.
Good. Mixed. Good. Ruben, how do you pronounce this?
Kids. Kids.
But the past? Kes is the present. You need the
Uh,
past.
uh, I finished the T, pero pronunciation
Just
sería
pronounce.
kids.
Just pronounce the T. Repeat it.
Kids.
No.
No.
First the S and then the T.
Mm. Yes. Termina en T, pero no sé cómo pronunciarlo.
Yeah.
Ajá.
That's what I'm saying. Pronounce the S and
Kids.
then the T.
Kids.
First, first, that's a pronunciation. Repeat it.
Kids. Kids. Kids.
Kissed, 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 kissed.
Kids.
That one. So first the S and then the T. Good. And the last one, Edwin Sosa. Um, this one, easy.
Studied.
Perfect. Study. Okay, now that you refreshed the pronunciation, you will tell your classmates about those memories that you have about school and high school. Try to remember those days that you had in high school and in school. So I will send you a message in the chat. You will work in pairs, and I will text, for example, tell your classmate what you did once you received your diploma. And then you tell your classmate, uh, once I received the diploma, I took a picture of it. Yes? Or tell your classmate what you did the moment you enter to high school for the first day. Oh, the moment I entered to high school for the first day, I was really nervous. I didn't speak to anyone because I was really shy. So I just remember a little girl was next to me on that day because she was a smart girl. So she was studying high school, but she was only 14 years old. So I don't know, but you will talk about it. Yes? Don't give only short answers. Try to say why, what happened, and so on. Yes? So we will work in pairs. And only one of you is going to work with me, I guess. Yes, one of you is going to work with me. This is going to be random, so I don't know who will work with me. So enter, and you will see the message on screen. You will tell first your information and then your classmate will give his or her information. So enter right now. All right, Edwin, you're with me. You're going to work with me. I will send to the screen the first thing that we're going to talk about. And it is about school or high school. So the first one, what do you do when you graduate? What do you do
When I had my
when you
when
graduate?
I had my when I graduate, the first thing that I did was take a lot of pictures, and then we went with my family. We went
to celebrate to the Costa del Sol. And we stay in a restaurant in the Costa, and then we come back to the home. Very excited by by uh, by the graduation. Well,
Where do you go exactly? Where do you go?
we went to Yesenia's restaurant.
Okay. Is Yesenia's restaurant near your house?
Can you repeat, please?
Is Yesenia's restaurant near your house?
Uh, really, no. It's not. It's something far, but like 30 minutes from my
30
house.
minutes. 30 minutes. Okay. Good. Now, next question. What do you eat?
Yes, I live in. Oh well. Uh, I eat a
I
lot of
ate.
things uh, this day.
I ate
I ate a lot of things
that day.
this day. That day,
Uh-huh.
yeah. First, in the morning for the breakfast, I ate pupusas and juice, and then I ate some chocolates. When we stayed in the restaurant, I ate meat and salad, rice. Um, when I was in when I was in home, I eat
I ate
uh, I ate uh, cupcakes and some bread with coffee. Yeah.
Okay, good. What time was your graduation? Was it in the morning, afternoon, or evening?
The graduation start
Started
at
in the past?
started at at 9 a.m. but it finished at 1 p.m.
Okay.
like 1 p.m. or 1:30 maybe.
It was exactly for lunch.
Yes, but when we came to the restaurant, uh, uh, it was like 2:30.
That was late. Almost for
Yes,
dinner.
yes.
Okay. Good. Now, next one. What did you do as soon as you got your Dewey? As soon as you got your Dewey, what did you do?
Oh, I when I had my due, I I I take no I took
Perfect.
uh, some documents to apply to a beca on
Scholarship.
Fantel.
The scholarship.
To a scholarship on Fantel. It was the first thing that I did.
Good.
Yes.
Do you go with your mom to get the DUI?
Yes, yes. Uh, she went with me, and because when I cuando saqué,
When I got,
what do you say? Saqué,
I
sacar?
got. In that case, it's got. When
When
I
I
got.
when I got the DUI, I I was shy to went
You go.
places like that.
But I guess you always needed to go with your mother because they always asked for someone like your father or your mother to be with you.
Oh yes,
So it
yes,
was
yes.
necessary, I think. I think that it was necessary.
They ask information about mm, I don't know, I don't remember, but
Your parents.
they ask yes.
And they have to sign, I guess. They have to sign the paper. So it's a lot of information.
Yes, yes, yes,
Good.
Harris.
Last question. What do you do the moment you started to work? Or how do you feel could be. How do you feel the moment you started to work?
Mm, when I start when I start when I started to work, I feel me very excited because I I start I started to work 1 week after I had my graduation, and
It was fast.
yes, uh, we entered to Ironman in November, and we had the graduation on the first week of December.
Good. Where did you study?
Uh, I study in Zacatecoluca.
Hmm. Was it a
In
technical high school?
yes, is aeronautical techniques,
Oh,
technical mechanic. Yes, uh, I I am the first promotion, maybe
I was
the first. I was the first.
in the first promotion.
Uh, yes, of
Okay.
this career.
And do all people from that high school go to apply at Oman?
Maybe the middle of my
Half.
classmates,
Half of my classmates.
half of my classmates applied to work in Ironman.
And from
Uh,
from that
the
half,
other half,
the other half,
uh, the other half, someone was someone don't have enough age to apply.
Some of them were 17 or 16.
Yes, yes. And others classmates had fear or
of going to
of
work.
yes,
Uh-huh.
because
Okay.
they think that they don't go in Aeroman don't going to don't no nos iban a dar trabajo. Ellos pensaban que no nos iban a dar.
They're not going to
I
get
don't
a job. They're not going to get a job.
Yeah.
Or in the past, they thought that they were not going to get a job. Okay,
well,
I understand. Good. Now let's go back to main session. Good, good.
Well, thanks.
All right, guys. Well, in my case, I had to work with, let's see. Well, Anthony entered right now. Good. So in my case, I had to work with Edwin Sosa, and we were talking about those days in high school, especially for him. So I can tell you what he told me. He said that by the time he graduated from high school, he had already applied to work at Oman. So that was good. And then he said that the first thing that he do uh, when he got the diploma was to take a picture. He also said that once he got the diploma, he went to a restaurant to eat with his parents. And the other thing that he said was the moment he started working, he felt happy. Yes, because it was his first job and it was just exactly 1 week, I guess. I don't remember if it was 1 week before he graduated that he started working there. So it was good for him. It was like as soon as he finished high school, he started working, and that was good. And the moment he got the DUI, he said, I don't remember what he did exactly, but he said that he went with his mom to get the ID or the DUI because it was necessary to have someone with you, either your father or your mother. Good. So now we are going to stop here, but we are going to continue with the presentations that you're missing. So raise your hand if you're missing presentations. Who's missing presentations?
Héctor.
Héctor Alvarado, Edwin,
Héctor Alvarado.
Héctor Alvarado, Edwin Sosa, another person that is missing. Who? Héctor Alvarado. Josué, you too? Josué Vasquez, yes, no?
What?
Are you missing the presentation?
No, I finished that.
I remember there were more
Me,
people.
teacher.
Abimael, uh-huh.
Me,
Okay,
teacher.
so tell me right now, who's missing presentations? Héctor Alvarado, Edwin Sosa, Abimael?
Me, teacher.
Ah, Jose Martinez, you see, 4. No more people, nobody else? No? Okay, so let's get started. Héctor Alvarado, you can project it and tell us about it.
I can share it, teacher. No la puedo compartir. No sé cómo. No sé si lo podría compartir usted.
Okay, I will do it.
Please.
Who's ready? Who's ready to project? Who's ready to project? Another person that is ready to project, Abimael? No? Another person that is ready to project? ¿Alguien que ya tenga lista la presentación para proyectarla? No one. Okay. So let's wait for
Wait
it.
a moment, teacher.
Wait.
Me, teacher.
Okay, so can you project it? Can you project it?
Yes.
Okay, you can start and then it will be Hector. Good. With a motorcycle. Okay, you can start, you man.
Yes. Mm, okay. And I'm going to tell about my experience when I bought my own motorcycle. Well, it happened 2 years ago. I remember that I was working on a motorcycle with my cousin, and a man arrived with with a very nice motorcycle, to which we repaired because he had a problem to work well. I asked him if at some point he would sell the motorcycle and how much he wanted for it. After talking, he told me that he would let me know when he would sell. After a few days, my cousin called me and told me that the motorcycle would be sold to me. I felt very exciting, exciting because I had liked the motorcycle a lot, and I gathered all the money he asked for asked for. One day of rest, I went to his place of residence with my cousin and made the first. I was I was very excited, excited to already have my own motorcycle in my possession. That that day I went to visit many places until very late. I ride my motorcycle the next day and I did preventive maintenance. I changed the oil, I greased all its moving parts, and etc. When I went back to other place with her, I I felt very satisfied to have rode my own motorcycle. I felt very happy. That's it, teacher.
Good, thank you, Abimael. So let's give it up for him. Just a pronunciation, Abimael, what he wanted to say was excited. Excited. Excited is the word that you wanted to use. Okay, so let's see. Product purchase experience is your presentation.
Yes.
Okay, just give me a second. Because I think that I will project first this one. Because your presentation gets closed immediately when I open it. So, who's this one? Jose? Or whose presentation is this one? Jose Martinez? Is it your presentation?
Uh,
Or Edwin
it is
Sosa?
mine.
Okay, Edwin, you can start.
Well, my experience purchase is about my first tablet. Uh, it was like 3 or 4 years ago, and really I didn't make the purchase. It was a gift from my mom uh, on, in December of 2016. And I remember that I wanted a tablet with a keyboard, um, similar or uh, similar to a similar to a computer, but uh, more small. And I remember that I I had it, and I was very excited by the tablet. And the first 3 or 4 months, uh, all was okay. But then sometimes the tablet started to have failures, and like it the screen go off, uh, and the screen go off, and or sometimes the it has cold screen. Yeah, and we carried the tablet to the agency, and they don't want don't want to change for another, uh, and also they didn't wanted to they didn't want to give us the money, but after uh, put after put after make a reclamation, maybe we got another tablet, and it it worked correctly, yeah, by 2 or 3 years, yeah. And then this don't work. But it was a good purchase, also a bad purchase, I think.
Yeah, it was bad at the beginning, but good at the end. Okay, just remember, reclamation is complain. Complain is the word that you have to use. Good. Let's give it up for him. Good job. So the last two people that are missing, Jose and who's the other one?
Hector Alvarado.
Hector Alvarado. Tomorrow. Yes. And before we go and before we finish the class, I need to tell you two things. Number one, you need to complete all the activities in week number 4. Complete the activities in week number 4. All the activities. Number two, tomorrow we finish the level. So tomorrow you have the last exam. The exam is written exam. So I need that you all enter to class early tomorrow. It means at 9 o'clock, at 9:30 o'clock, you have to enter because we only have 1 hour. We will have only 1 hour. Yes, 1 hour. Because we have 40 hours. And right now, today, we have 39. So we are missing only 1 hour. And the hour is tomorrow for the exam. So I need that everyone stay in class tomorrow early to hear the instructions and then to complete the test. Yes? What is coming on the test? Unit number 3 and unit number 4. Unit 3 and unit number 4. I will send you to the WhatsApp group the specific topics so that you can study on those topics too. I will share the screen so that you can say present when you hear your name. So, first person. Héctor Alvarado.
Yes, teacher.
Herbert.
Present.
Sergio. Well, Sergio is there. Abimael.
Present, teacher.
Ania.
Present, teacher.
Present.
Rubén.
Present.
Salvador.
Present.
Edwin González.
Present.
Tomás.
Present.
Héctor Lima.
Present.
Nelson Hugo. He's not here. Jose Martinez. Well, he's there. Luis Quintanilla.
Present, teacher.
Jorge Ramírez. Jorge is not here. Anthony.
Present.
Edwin Sosa.
Present.
Roxana asked for
Teacher.
permission. And Jose Vasquez. Yes?
Edwin Gonzalez is there.
Sorry?
Edwin
What do you say?
Gonzalez is there. Edwin Gonzalez is there. You put
Yes, because Edwin Gonzalez is twice. Edwin Gonzalez is twice. Edwin Gonzalez, the first one, Edwin Gonzalez, the second one. El problema es que él ha creado dos perfiles, entonces tengo que eliminar uno. Y la vez pasada lo eliminé, pero volvió a salir, entonces significa que el que había borrado es prácticamente el mismo que está utilizando. Ahí me escribe un mensaje y me dice cuál de los dos va a dejar Edwin para ver con cuál de los dos subió las notas, las tareas. And tomorrow I will give you the final score too. So tomorrow you can see all the scores and the final score. Yes? That's all for now. I see you tomorrow and have a good day. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.